right, so we just got to Beaver, Utah, checked in for Crusher in the Tushar. It's about 90 degrees. I just found out that they took this off the Lifetime Grand Prix, but it's still sponsored by Lifetime. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I was expecting a huge party here, but either way, this is gonna be awesome. It's like 90 degrees. It's gonna be scorching. We got Welch here. Say what up, Welch.
What's up?
We're ready to suffer tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Let's get it. So if you don't know anything about Crusher and the Tushar, it is essentially two massive climbs that add up to 10,400 feet and only 70 miles. So you're doing a lot of climbing, and everything in blue is on dirt. So if you notice, almost all of the major climbing is done on dirt, which if you do gravel racing, you know that it's a bit more tough than pavement. So starting right out of the gate, we start on pavement, but then you're into some steep climbing on the dirt. And right in here is the Col de Crush. And I knew that this was going to be hot and it was going to impact me because I'm from Idaho and I train early mornings. So that being said, let's get into some of the footage and we'll break down the race. All right, we're officially rolling up to the line.
Let's do it today. 30 seconds, men, 50 to 59.
Let's do this thing though.
Ready to go.
3, 2, and 1.
So as we turned around that first corner, headed towards the first dirt section, things got spicy really quick. You'll see this guy in the blue just taking off. At this time though, Ryan and we didn't even really know he was in our group. He was just flying so fast. So we are sitting about right here on the course, hitting this first climb, and this climb just felt like it never ended. Luckily we were in a lot of shade, so it wasn't too hot yet. I was still feeling pretty good. But this climb was gorgeous. I wish that I wasn't suffering so much so I could have enjoyed the views a little bit more. So as we crested over the top of that first climb, which felt like lasted forever, we're about 2 hours into the race. There was 3 of us in this little group. It was myself, Ryan, and a kid named Preston, I believe. And then there was 2 guys off the front, Zach Pape and another kid, that kid in the blue that just took off. And then there was 1 kid just pretty close behind us. So sitting top 5 right now, pretty happy with where we're at, but now we're headed into this descent. I have never done it before, but I've heard that it's pretty gnarly and that there's just water bottles flying all over the place. And somewhere right about in here, I lost one of my water bottles. So luckily, Ryan and I decided to bring an extra water bottle, so I was able to have enough liquid, but man, it was crazy how many water bottles you just saw flying all over the place. So if you're gonna do this race, make sure that you're prepared with extra liquid, because I heard of other people that ran out of fluid and couldn't finish the race because they were cramping. The last little part of the descent is actually on pavement, and then you come down into this little town called Circleville, and you do a loop around the town and then head back into what they call the Sarlac Pit. At this point in time, the other guys were nowhere to be seen. It was Ryan and myself, and then we hooked up with 2 other guys to create a nice little pace line through the flats here. But Preston descended that hill so fast that we literally didn't see him through this entire section, even though there was 4 of us working together. I'm assuming maybe he caught up with another group and worked with them. But so now it was just me and Ryan trying to chase him down, and then there was also 2 in front of him. So now here we are in what they call the Sarlac Pit. If you look, it's pretty sandy. So a lot of people, I guess you could say, have horror stories from it. I honestly didn't really think it was as bad as other people made it sound. It was very hot. I think that was probably the worst part. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. So after you come out of the Sarlac Pit, which is this climb right here, we then have a little section of pavement right here before we hit the infamous Col de Crush, which is this bad boy right here, which basically is supposed to be the hardest climb of the day. If you notice, it is the exact opposite of that, which means we just came down that. So we're on this little pavement section here before we go up this crazy steep part right here. Well, where are we going? Up there?
All the way up to that little switchback right there.
Oh yeah.
Col de Crush.
So I wasn't able to get too much footage while I was climbing up the col because I had my zipper unzipped, and so my camera was just flipping, flopping all over the place. But a little summary of what happened. Welch and I rode together up at about halfway. About halfway up, we actually saw Zach Pape, who was originally in the breakaway group, and he had cramped up. So unfortunate for him, he was having a great race, and he lost his water bottle and wasn't able to continue because of the cramping that he had. And then we also passed Preston, who had descended like crazy. But there was still the one other guy that we didn't really know who was up the road. And then right about halfway up after we passed Preston, apparently Welch got a little fire lit up underneath him, and he just slowly pulled away from me. He just rode so strong up that climb, and I never actually saw him again. He just absolutely killed it, so hats off to Welch. I loved seeing it. So after we got up to the top of this climb here, I was solo. I didn't really see anybody else. And then we come into this descent right here, which is a gravel descent. And as I am doing this descent right here, I actually end up dropping my chain. It absolutely sucked. So I had to pull over and get my chain put back on, and it costed me a lot more time than I think anybody wishes they would have had. And by the time I made it to the pavement, I had another guy pass me. So I still figured I was sitting in 5th place, so I wasn't too upset, but it did suck. So that little corner right there that we went through is the last little corner before you hit the finish line. And on the profile, you know, it looks like a little climb. This climb felt like it lasted forever, probably because I was just so torched. But if you look right up there in front of me, that is the kid that ended up getting 5th place. Little did any of us really know, there was actually 3 guys up the road at the beginning, not just 2. So not that it really changes the outcome much. I couldn't really do much about it, but I ended up finishing 6th in my age group. Welch finished 3rd in our age group. Absolutely amazing. I believe Welch finished 14th overall, and I finished 21st overall. So ended up being an awesome day. The race was amazing. I wish I was a little bit more prepared for the heat. I'm not saying it would have changed anything, but man, that heat was just absolutely killer. But at the time, you know, you're in the middle of a race. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm never doing this again. But as I'm watching this footage, making the edit, I'm reconsidering it. I may have to do this one again and see if I can beat my time. So if you're considering doing Crusher, it's definitely difficult. It's definitely tough, but I would suggest it for sure. Make sure that you get an understanding of what it's like to do the Col de Crush. So if you like videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of the race. If you're going to do it again, let me know if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.